All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of how things are likely to unfold, we're being joined by Mr. Daniel Roth, who's a research director for United Against a Nuclear Iran. He's joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Roth, now there's a lot of speculation on how the Israelis may choose to attack Iran and what are the sites in Iran that could come under attack. But the Iranians, for their part, are also putting in place, certain contingency plans in the event of an Israeli attack, where it is being reported that they have about 1,000 missiles ready, locked and loaded to strike Israel if Israel were to attack first. What's your reading into this?
Yes, Iran has, as your reporter said, outlined 3 potential responses were Israel to attack. The first is this potential ballistic missile barrage of up to 1,000 missiles. Let's just look at that. And historically, just recently, within the last few months, Iran has already launched, several hundred ballistic cruise and drone missiles to Israel, and the net effect was very little. In fact, the only actual fatality was an unfortunate Palestinian in Gaza who was hit by one of those spent rockets.
That is because Iran has categorically said that it was not aiming to cause any kind of civilian fatalities. It was aiming to strike at the military targets only to exhibit its military capabilities.
Yes, I have heard that rhetoric from inside Iran. As far as my reading is, there was very little damage to the Israeli targets that Iran was actually looking to strike. So from the US and Western side, there's a lot of talk about Iran being a paper tiger in terms of its military capabilities. I think that is, as you are alluding to, inaccurate, but I would say they're more of a one-trick pony. And that one-trick pony really encapsulates its missile barrage. Yes, it does have, as your reporter said, the most formidable missile array in the Middle East, in the region. However, as I'm sure you reported earlier, the US has augmented Israel's already most battle-hardened missile defense system with the THAAD, the THAAD system. That's going to be able to take out any missiles that are currently at an altitude above present Israeli capabilities. So, from where I'm looking at, Iran's potential retaliation is limited, and that's why you're seeing these intimations from senior regime officials that they're looking for an off-ramp. They don't want to escalate, but the reality is Iran has been escalating with Israel since its very foundation in 1979. It's baked into the constitution that Israel has to be eliminated. It regularly calls for Israel's annihilation. And the thing that will really change that is if one of these missiles, which are inherently capable of carrying a nuclear or weapon of mass destruction warhead, if that actually occurs. And my organization, WION, we do track that quite closely.
Right.
They're within a couple of weeks of actually having enough material and potentially in 6 months or so to actually make that warhead.
Now, we are waiting for some kind of an Israeli retaliation for the Iranian missile barrage. That hasn't come yet. Now, the Israelis are relying on American support for carrying out any kind of attack that they possibly can on Iran. But considering the fact that the United States is now heading into the presidential elections, can Israel rely on the Americans to help it in carrying out an attack on Iran?
Obviously, there is the special relationship between America and Israel. The administration has consistently said that it is, quote, ironclad. I think over the past 4 years, it's not so ironclad as they particularly purport. But I think to use the American expression, when the rubber hits the road, then Israel will be able to count on American support, especially in terms of defensive reactions, defensive posturing. To its credit, the Biden administration did deploy naval assets to the Mediterranean, to the Persian Gulf. We've seen, as I said, this THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Aerial Defense System, already in place, another one potentially on the way. So that's my analysis there.
All right, we're completely out of time. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Roth, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.